Motivates, and I am your life coach. Welcome to another podcast conversation. I truly appreciate every single one of you. Thank you always for your support, your encouragement, and those of you who are my channel members, channel subscribers. Welcome back to another video. Today, you guys can see by the title, today is going to be kind of a tough one, talking about grief and sadness and pain and the things that goes along with grief. It's not an easy thing, and it is something easy to handle when you lose someone that you love, when they pass away. And especially it's difficult when you lose your parents. Yeah. Hi, smarter than your average. How are you doing? Welcome in. Happy Friday. Happy October to all of the Motivators family. Today's encouragement really is about learning how to be there now for yourself. Because if there is anybody who is like me and you have been a caregiver to your parents, and especially towards the end of their life, then um, it can be really difficult to kind of find your footing, find who you are, um, find your space in life. Who am I without them? And I found myself really plagued with that, finding who am I without my mom? Who am I without my dad? Or it could be anybody, even someone who raised you. Maybe it's not your birth parents, but maybe it was your grandparents, an aunt and uncle, whoever that you look to as a parental figure, and you lose them when they pass. Uh, the real life hits you like so much stages of grief that we go through, and it's absolutely nothing that can prepare you for how you're going to feel. um, Smarter than your average says, I lost my mom in 2018. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Condolences to you and all of your loved ones. And like I always say all the time, it doesn't matter how long it's been that you've lost somebody that you love. It doesn't matter. It could be 2 years ago, or it could be 30 years ago. The pain never ends. Oh, and you share the same birthday. Wow, you haven't been the same since. Yeah, it changes your world. It rocks it to its core. It's like everything seems like it falls apart. And, there's no words. There's no words that I can say that can ever fill the pain, the loss, the sadness. There's nothing that will ever make you feel like it's going to be the same again, because it changes your entire world. Hi, Miss Doretha. How are you doing? Happy Friday. Welcome in, everybody. Yeah, this one is a very difficult topic. It's very difficult for me to talk about how I'm feeling, and when it comes to grief, because you guys who have been around my channel for a while know that um, I lost both of my parents. Well, shouldn't say I lost my all my siblings. We lost our parents within 7 months, both of them. My mom passed in May of 2017, and my dad passed in October of 2016. So just 7 months apart. For me, losing my father first was the one of the most difficult things that has ever happened to me in my entire life. Even though my father had CANCR, and we were kind of prepared for it. Hi, Carol Do. How are you doing? Welcome. Even though I knew that my father had CANCER, I knew knew that already. We were all, it's like you're kind of preparing for it. You know that it's coming, but when it actually happens, there's nothing that prepares you for that feeling. Like you know that they're going to go, but at the same time, when they're gone, it's that it's just like your whole world is just destroyed. I'm just speaking for myself because I don't say that everybody feels that way. I felt that way because I was extremely close with my father. He was my best friend. He was and is my best friend. He will always be my best friend, because we had so much conversations, and we agreed about so many things. My father loved language just like me. He loved the arts and music. So there's a lot of things that my father he gave to me, and he taught me a lot of things. So I dearly miss my father, and I know that I'm not the only one. Every time when I have conversations like this and talk about grief, loss, I know that I'm saying this. Hi, how are you doing? Welcome in. So whoever just said good night to everyone. Um, nobody is not the same. Everybody is not the same. How one person copes with grief, other people don't deal with the same when it comes to grief. Yes, you're from Turkey. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. So I just wanted to talk about some stages of grief, right? Um, so it can go in different modes, and or it can all come at once. But for me, my grief started with shock. Like I just couldn't believe it. I feel like I was gobsmacked, like, or punched in the stomach. The shock of it, even though I knew it was coming, but it was just shocking. Like, is this really true? You ask yourself, is this really true? Has this really happened? So that initial shock will really get you feeling some type of way about life and yourself. And it's trying to learn, like, what is my life going to be now that they are no longer in it? And like I said, this is a motivational channel. This is a life coach channel, but I also share my personal experiences because I know talking about it, every time I talk about the things that happened to me in my life, I become freer. I get more peace. I learn more things about myself, and I show myself how strong I am. And the same thing for you all. Anybody who is grieving, especially during this time of the year, coming towards the end of the year, it can be a challenge for so many. Um, just thinking that another year that they're not going to be with me, another year of whatever it is. But we're not going to vibrate in that space of negativity and that they're not here. We're going to focus on some of the great things, the lessons that we can learn, and the persons that we can become, being better persons, being better women, and being better women. I think that is one of the best ways that I deal with keeping myself healed and in a positive space. I like to focus on what they taught me. What sort of woman or man did they turn you into? Hey, Leonica, how are you doing? Welcome in. So, whether you had a really great relationship with your mother or your father, um, or whoever it was that passed away, maybe it was your grandparent, aunt, whoever that person that raised you, um, if you had a very good relationship, a very bad relationship, it's going to depend on how you are dealing with it. Um, do they treat you well? And all of those things. It's a very main factor, right? Hey, realist, how are you doing? Welcome in. Happy Friday. And happy October to anybody I have not said that to. So that's how it was for me in the beginning. Nothing prepared me for the number one, the shock, and number two, the pain. that pain that I felt initially. And some people, it's not initial pain. For some, it's just like, just you're just in this numb state. You don't feel the pain initially. For some, it takes weeks, months, even years before it actually hits them that they are no longer here, right? Everybody is different, but this is a safe space, a comforting space that we can talk about these conversations, because it's very important to talk about how you are processing it all. Many people do not process losing their mother or father, aunt, uncle, grandparent, whoever raised them. They don't ever talk about it because they say it's painful. It makes them sad. But everything is about perspective and mindset shifting. And you know that I love on this channel to talk about mindset shifting. That yes, we can't do anything about that they are no longer here, but how can we choose to live our life now that they are no longer here? Are we going to stay in the past? Will you stay in the negative? Or are you going to allow yourself to elevate and be a better woman or be a better man? And that is the space that I'm trying my best to vibrate at. Being a better woman or a man, regardless of how your mother or your father, grandparent, aunt, uncle, whoever raised you was. Because not all the time our upbringings was a positive thing, a good thing, or you feel sadness because they're gone. It can be a lot of things, but we have to go to that healed space, that happy space, and improve and be a better and more quality woman, a better quality man, right? Because that's what we're after. So, another thing that nothing could prepare us for is maybe the sadness that you feel. Do you feel sad when you think about them? Do you feel that numbing space? Like, I know for me, when I have a special occasion, like say I do something really great, I achieve something like you get some accolades at work, or you start a business, or you start a family. You have some things going on, right? It's only a natural thing that you wish that they were there and sharing in those memories, and that's okay. And it's so important for us to say that out loud. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed to say, mom, dad, auntie, uncle, grandparent, whoever, I miss you right now. And I wish you were here. But I know you'd be so proud of me right now. See, that's the elevation and the empowered space that I want for us to be in when we think about grief, and we talk about grief, not to stay in the space of I'm sad and angry that my life is moving forward and I miss you and I wish you were here, but I know you would want me to move on with my life. I know you want me to be a better woman. I know that you would want me to be a better man. I know. And because I know, I am. So I'm so proud of that I was able to get help through therapy, be able to process things, because I'm not going to lie to y'all. Initially, when my father passed, I was in a very dark hole, very, very angry. I was mad with the whole world. But everybody has to process what their grief in their way. Some people like to talk about it, and other people don't. And it's cool either way you want to do it. Whether you want to talk about it, you don't want to talk about it, you want to go to a therapist, you don't want to go to the therapist, but you have to have a creative space, an outlet, in order for you to digest it. However it is that you're digesting it, and not just keeping it inside it and saying, "Oh, I'm good." Because that's what I did initially. I poured myself into work because I'm definitely a person that I work too hard. I'm an overachiever. I know that about myself. Um, and if there's anybody who's like me and you are also an overachiever, or you're a person that you don't really like to wear your heart on your sleeve and let other people know what you're going through, but you still got to have a space where you can do something to get some of that off of your head or off of your heart as a sort of relief, as a sort of escape from whatever it is that you're feeling. I hope that that makes sense, because I'm saying how I'm processing it in my mind and how I deal with it on a day-to-day basis. Leonica says, hey to everyone in the chat. I'm good, Marlene. I'm glad you are, Leonica. Thanks so much, Realist. Yes, I smack that like and subscribe respectively. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So that was one thing, and I'm just speaking for myself. I would love to hear how you guys are processing it, because like I say, everybody is different. Some people love to talk about it, like myself. In the beginning, of course, I was the person that was just paralyzed in bed in the fetal position, because I don't lie about those things at all. I was just in bed crying, 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 like it was uncontrollable. When I started to cry, it was like the floodgates opened and I couldn't stop. And I had to cry as long as I needed to cry. So I cried for a good 2 weeks straight, before I could finally find some, like, be able to pick myself up and say, we're going to have to, we can't stay in bed, you know, and I want to say that to somebody, if you have just lost somebody you love, or you're coping with it during this time of the year, that you got to pull yourself together. You can't just stay in the bed and feeling sorry for yourself, not taking care of yourself, either not eating or eating too much, neglecting yourself, because I know that when you feel sad, angry, miserable, whatever it is that you're feeling, we all process it differently. But one thing that we still have to do is we still have to take care of ourselves. You still have to take care of your personal care. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, because I'm not going to cap about nothing. This is a transparent conversation and live stream. When my dad just passed away, I would just stay in bed, like literally the whole day. And I neglected myself. I didn't feel like taking a shower. I didn't feel like combing my hair, brushing my teeth, doing anything. And I'm grateful that I had my siblings and I had my best friend that came over and had to literally shake me out of it. Like, you come on, get up, get yourself together. And I know that not everybody has a supportive people around them that will pour into them and, just be there for them. And I was blessed to have my siblings and my best friend to say, come on, let's pull yourself together. And if it wasn't for them, I honestly don't know what I would have done. If it wasn't for my sister and my brother and my best friend, they really was there in my time of need. And everybody everybody has to find somebody like that they can lean on. You may not have, like I had it, but you got to have somebody that you can open up and talk to. It's somebody that you can be that person that you can vent to, or scream, or just do nothing. Because I had to do that too. There's just some times where you just there, but your mind has completely blanked out and you're just there staring into space, like, man, is this really my life right now? Did this really happen to me? So you do have to have your times for that, and allow yourself to be that way, and not to feel like you have to have this cookie cutter perfect person, because many people feel like they can't show. Like I said, you can't wear your heart on your sleeve. I don't want anybody to know how I'm feeling. I don't want nobody to see me cry, because I'm not, scary. I'm not a punk. Like a lot of people don't like to show that vulnerability. I didn't like it, but if that's how you're feeling, you got to let those tears out. You got to, whatever, or anger, or whatever it is that you're feeling, you got to let yourself feel that. And don't apologize for it. Like I said, everybody processes things differently, because I had my other siblings, and I was the person that I cried for 2 weeks straight for everything that I had to do, like waking up, you know, going to the store, do everything that I was doing at work, everything. I was just cry. I just cried. I went through so many tissues. Real talk. But some people just don't. Like my brothers, for instance, I didn't see my brothers cry, but I think it's because they were trying to be strong for me, or maybe they don't process their pain that way. Maybe they were the ones that had to shed their tears when they were in their room by themselves or somewhere apart from other people. They didn't want to do it in front of others, and that's understandable too. But at the end of it, whatever it is that you feel, and if you feel like you want to scream, because I've had to do that too, like initially when I got the news that my father was gone, like I just screamed and just slumped down to the ground and just started crying uncontrollably. Um, and then a few days later, it went to something else. Then it went to anger, like, how dare you leave? Like, you're my father, I need you. So I had to go through all of those up and downs of emotions. And I'm sure many of you get the same feelings because we're human beings, and society will portray us like, life goes on. And of course, yes, life does go on. But at the same time, you can't just be like, I'm a robot. I have no feel. Oh, yeah, I'm good. And smiling all. No, that's fake. That's not real life. You will be messed up for a while. I'm not going to even hold you guys that way. You will feel sad. You will feel angry. Okay? You will. And you have to allow yourself to be that sad, that miserable, that angry, that whatever it is that you're feeling. And it was frozen for a second. Sorry about that, guys. I wish that I would have handled my grief differently. I really wish I would have, because I I think the way that I handled it is I poured myself into work. I poured myself into helping other people and planning the, you know, the repass and everything. That's how I handled it. I kept myself busy. But what I probably needed to do was to take some time off and to just let myself feel it. And I know that's why many months later I had a breakdown. Like I had a literal breakdown, and it was not a good thing. It wasn't good. Like I just picked up my purse at work and I was like, I gotta go. You know, that's what I had to do. I was like, I gotta go. Went in and I told my boss, I was like, I don't know when I'm coming back, but I know I need some time. Like, I was at work at my desk and I'm doing all my work, and then it just came down on me like a curtain. Everything, and I felt everything all at once: anger, sadness, and I was just like, yeah, I got to get out of here. Picked up my purse, went and told my boss, I was like, I don't know when I'm coming back, but I need some time for me to wrap my mind around it. So, and I did, and I took that time. I wish I took longer. I took the 3 days off, but boy, did I need it. You know. Realist says 100%. We do things to occupy our emotions. It's necessary. Yeah, you got to do something to keep yourself together. You got to do something so that you can be okay. And I think that's really the important part of this conversation today is you got to do some things to keep yourself in alignment and focus. If you just focus your mind on how the situation is for you right now, how sad you feel, how angry, how miserable, and whatever, how heartbroken you are. If you focus your mind on that, you're not going to do well. You know, you won't do well. Yes, you need to occupy yourself, but you can't just turn off your emotions like a faucet. Or you just can't be like, oh, this isn't happening to me, because I know many people do that. I did that for a few days after my dad passed. It was like my dad passed on I believe my dad passed on a Thursday. So, of course I told them I wasn't coming back on Friday, but I went back to work on Tuesday, and I was asking myself, like, what are you doing here? And I think that's when I was at work typing, and I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I need to go. And before I could even finish the statement talking to my boss, the tears were already streaming. I was like, I'll let you know when I'm coming back, but I got to go. And I left, and I stayed away for another 3 or 4 days. I can't remember exactly, but I know it was like 3 or 4 days. I took off again because I needed that mental health time for me. And I'm just stating what works for me. Some people will need longer, some people will need shorter, but don't compare yourself to anybody else. You have to be you, you know? So, yeah. And here is the next thing that nothing can prepare you for, and that is the anger. I can't tell you guys that about how angry I was. And the anger wasn't really when I lost my dad. I did get some parts of it. I was like, when I needed my dad for some things like advice or support, or just sometimes you just need your daddy. Same thing, like sometimes you just need your mother. Um, but I wasn't angry with my dad because my dad was sick. My anger came in when my mom passed. Because I think I've shared the story about when my mom passed away. I was at work, and they called and said my mom coded, and when I got there, she was already in a non-responsive state, and they used what are those plugs, to jump the body, and she didn't make it. And it was that quick. It was like, talked to her the night before, she was like, I'm going to the doctor tomorrow, and I never talked to her again. So it's just like that. You can lose somebody that you love. It's that fast. It's that quick. And that's why I always say that if it's somebody, especially your parents, I know that parents can do things that can be mean, nasty, rude, get on your nerves, be controlling, but you'll never get another mother or father. You can find some people that can fill a role and be like a mother and a father to you, but nobody can be your birth mother or your birth father. That's unreplaceable. But for me, my anger really came in when my mom passed. Um, and it may sound crazy to some, and I can respect it if some people will think it's crazy, but I was so angry when my mom passed because I was like, Dad is gone already, and now you left. You're all I have left. And I know that that's very selfish. My therapist helped me to come to terms with that, but I was so angry with her that she left when I needed her. But it is what it is. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. But you have to have that. If you're angry about them leaving, then you gotta let yourself have that. You gotta process it, because if you don't get that anger out that you feel for your parent, for whatever, some unresolved things. You said this to me. You weren't there. You abandoned me. You disrespected me. You didn't do this or this or this for me. It all comes up after they go. So I want to say to anybody, if you still have your mother or your father around and there is some issue that you have with them, please settle it before one day you're going to be having this conversation with yourself by yourself. They're not going to be around to give you an answer back like, why did you do this, or why did you say that, or even to say I forgive you for what you did. Unfortunately, that's how I had to process mine, because my mother went just like that. I had time to heal things with my dad because, you know, of his CANCER. I had time to talk with him and spend time with him and things like that. But my mom going just like that, I didn't get that opportunity. So I feel like that was the reason why I had my anger with her, because she left and I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. I think really that was the part for me. And this is another thing that nothing can prepare you for, is accepting it. Like I said in the beginning, it doesn't matter if your mother or your father, grandfather, whoever raised you, has passed a year ago, or it's been 50 years ago. For some, you never accept it. No, and for me, I don't know if there's ever a time where I'll ever accept it. You know that it happened, but as far as you saying like it's okay that you're gone, I don't think I can ever wrap my mind around that. I think how I process it is that they're gone, but now I know how to survive. I know how to go through another day, and I just take things one moment or one day at a time. There's many days where I'm cool, you know, just like you guys, if you have ever lost your parent or parents. Some days you have those good days, like, you know, you're cool, you're laughing about it, you know, you're thinking about some good things that happened and things like that. And other days you're crying or you're angry or you're sad. But you got to let yourself say, this is how I feel, this is what I'm going through, and it's okay that I feel that way. Now, don't let anybody tell you, oh, you're still grieving about that, because I have had people say, oh, your dad passed how many years ago? Like, why are you still talking about that? Just because another person processes their emotions one way, it doesn't mean you have to process it their same way. We're all different, but you got to learn how to accept where you are in the grand scheme of things. Where are you? Are you allowing yourself to scream, be angry, be sad, or come to that state of acceptance? I accept that they are no longer here, but I'm okay. And I think this is almost 10 years, coming up on 10 years that my father has passed. This year, next month will be 9 years that he passed. And I think that I'm finally coming to this space where I can say my dad's now, I can say daddy without crying, but it's still kind of raw. I still can't say, you know, I can say my dad, but I can't say my, you know, MOM. I still can't say that. That's still raw for me. But whatever it is, where you are in your grief journey, because it is a journey. Um, no 2 days are going to be alike. Some days you're going to be happy and smiling, thinking about the memories, and other times it could be the same thing, looking at pictures, smelling their fragrance. Like sometimes I think about my dad's favorite cologne or my mom's cologne, and it sends me into a complete meltdown. So it's going to be different all the time. Hi, Sirius. How are you doing? It's always going to be different. It will literally never be the same, you know, never. But at the end of it, why I want to have this conversation is because first I wanted to talk about, the grief stages, the shock, the pain, the sadness, the anger, and the acceptance. But after all of that, I want for us to get our mind into a space of three things that we can do to help us with that grief. And that's where I am right now. And I can't tell you guys, I'm so eternally grateful. I'm grateful for healing. I'm grateful for time. I'm grateful for support, maturity, and having courage, because it takes a lot of courage to talk about this. It takes patience, not only with the situation, but with yourself. And you got to be patient with yourself and not be angry, okay? Don't be angry because you're sad, or because you're crying. You're a human being, and we have feelings. Yeah. I'm doing great, Sirius. Thanks so much for asking. So, I wanted to talk about three things that we can do to help us in our grieving journey, to keep our mind in that elevated, positive space. Because you guys know, you're talking to your life coach. I'm not going to let you guys stay in the state of just saying, oh, I'm angry all the time. I'm sad. They set me off. They did this to me. They weren't there for me. Yes, while that could have happened, yes, we do talk about that and we do acknowledge it, but we have to go beyond that now. Because we're adults, we're healed, we're worthy, we're capable, and we don't want to stay in that space of anger. We want to vibrate higher, we want to elevate and let our mind go to positive things. It's just one of those things in life that, yes, things happen to us, we're upset about it, we're angry, we're frustrated, but now it's a time for healing and personal growth and development. So, one of the ways that really helps me when I think about grief, with my mother and my father, or with this can literally apply to anybody, but today I'm really focusing on whoever raised you, and when they pass away, how do you deal with that? How do you unpack it? How do you process it, moment by moment, without allowing yourself to be fully absorbed in that forever? Because that's a very easy thing to do. When you lose people that you love, you can stay in that, just thinking about it. They're not here, they're not here. If you fixate your mind on that, it's going to affect your life. It's going to affect your health. It's going to affect other relationships that you have. It will. So, one of the things that I had to learn to do when, I'm feeling down and discouraged, I have to give myself a new mantra that, they lived so that I could fly. And I like to keep my mind in that space when I feel really down and discouraged. People come into our life and they either deposit positive things or they deposit negative things. But I have learned to extract what is positive and leave behind the negative. You know, okay, if it's not serving you, if it's not helping you, if it's not growing you, then leave that alone, and take what all of that negative that you have and give yourself permission to write a new story, rewrite the story, okay? Maybe if your parents did something, you learn to be better at it. This is how I have taken my grief and become a better quality woman and work on my personal growth and development. For my parents were not the best of communicators. Um, how I needed it. Maybe they communicated how they thought was okay, but it was not enough for me. And me learning how to be a better communicator has really um, made me be a better person. Because before, how I grew up is anytime somebody would talk about something, I would shut down because that's what I saw my mother and my father do. Anything that made me feel uncomfortable, I'd be like, shoot, I was out of there. I was the road runner. It's like, I don't want to talk about it. I would shut down, um, just block everybody out, isolate myself. And that's not healthy, motivators. So um, that's one thing that I will say is use your past. Use whatever that person didn't give you, and use that as a catalyst for your change. Use that as a way to of developing and being better. Okay, they did this. They weren't capable of having that, but now today I'm better. I'm healed. I'm happy, and I'm gonna grow and be something better. And I love that, that I've taken some of the most painful things that has ever happened to me in my life, and I've used that to elevate my mind, um, and to not only elevate my mind but to elevate others, like in coaching and motivational speaking and helping other people. I love that because I gave myself the permission to grow and to learn and to change. I am depositing in other people. So that's what I love about my grief journey is I've taken what has hurt and say, how can I be better than they were? You use your pain and cause it to elevate you. Sirius says that is a good way to extrospect without suppressing your feelings and subjecting yourself to emotional drainage. Yes, that's how I like to look at it. Sirius. I have taken that. There was a few things that my parents, it was impossible for them to give me. My parents weren't the best communicators. My parents were definitely not affectionate. Um, they were not ones to validate me and to tell me I was doing a great job, and they were proud of me. But I learned to be that so that I could make deposits into whoever was coming after me, and also who I deal with now, even using it to learn how to communicate with my siblings and my friends, and be better. So we don't always have to say this and this happened to me and they broke me. No, you allow yourself to be broken. See, that is an empowerment. That's a mindset shift. And therapy gave me that power, to not stay in saying, oh, well, my mom and my dad didn't communicate, so there, I'm not going to communicate. No. Okay, if somebody didn't give you that because they couldn't do it, why not make it possible for you? Deposit into yourself, help yourself, elevate yourself, experience some personal growth and development. I'm going to do better than they did. I think every generation it should elevate. Every generation should empower and be better than the previous ones. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like I say, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. See, and I think that's a difference because I do have those moments where someone does something and it pisses me off, and my automatic reaction is, forget you and block you. That's what I want to do in my mind. But if you're somebody that I care about, I'll take a deep breath and say, just give me a moment. And I go and I take a moment, and then I come back when I've calmed down and say, let's talk about it. That I know is my personal growth. And that took time because um, when you grow up seeing that model of no communication to low communication, you you accept it as normal, and it's not, because I know how I feel when you want somebody to talk to you about something and they just ghost you. It doesn't feel good. So I try my best I have to take some time. I'm not a person that when I get upset, I can just talk about it right there in the moment. I'm not one of those. It's just like, leave me alone, get out my face. I need some time. Like, don't talk to me right now. So, but I do circle back and say, just give me an hour, 2 hours, and then we can talk. But not right now. For me, that's a lot of growth because the old me, I used to be like, get out of my face, and I never wanted to have this conversation again. I don't want to talk about it. So, um, my grief has caused me to be a better communicator. My grief has caused me to be healed. So that's one. That's one thing. The second thing we can do with that grief is we got to use that our grief and forgive them. That, and I can't tell you guys how hard that is because our parents are human, just like we are, but I don't know why it is that we don't see our parents in relation to their mom and dad as they or whatever their names were. And it wasn't until I got to be more mature and healed in my thoughts and my insights and my perspective on life that I began to see them as I see myself, like, you know, being more humble, being more willing to be vulnerable and to share what I feel, what I'm going through. And that has really allowed me to forgive them for what they did in just being a human being. And it's not easy. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When, my mother and my father did things to me, and it's taken me so many years to be able to forgive. One thing, little by little, and I have to say, Marlene, I forgive them. And you know why? I forgive them so that I can forgive myself. And when I forgive, I can be a better woman. I can be less stressed. I can be, I can show more of me. I can show up as a better person. I can communicate better. I can be happier. I can keep my joy and keep my peace. Yeah, I can't tell you guys that it's not until somebody passes away before those things really bubble up to the surface, like, you did this. I remember when my mother or my father did this. Like, how dare they? You'll be vibrating in that space. I guarantee you guys, if you haven't had that happen to you yet, and I don't want it to happen to anybody, but when it happens to you, you guys will understand and know exactly what I'm talking about. But you got to forgive them. Let's see. It can help you to deal with the outside world. It can be cruel, but with a different approach and mindset. Um, you can adapt and achieve the results of what the immortals are trying to do. Yeah. You got to shift your mindset. You got to shift your focus. Sarah says, oh boy, forgiveness is such a hard thing to do. It took a lot of courage and effort to make this happen. I'm very grateful for the lesson because it made me stronger than ever. Yeah. And I can't say that my forgiveness, I can say that I have definitely forgiven more than I ever thought that I could. Because, like I said, I see them now as with their government name. I see them as a person and not just as mom and dad. I see them by their government name, you know? And and when I started forgiving my mother and father for what they had did to me, not intentional. Sometimes I felt like it was intentional, but it wasn't always intentional. And I had to forgive them for the mistakes they made. I had to forgive them for the times where they were insensitive to my feelings and my emotions, or when I didn't feel supported and loved and appreciated. And I had to release that. And I had to give myself the permission to say, they were human, Marlene. Yeah, they messed up. Yeah, they did this. Yeah, they did that. And it's not okay, but you got to forgive them so that you can forgive yourself, because when you don't forgive people for what they did to you, you hold yourself back on your personal potential, your own personal worth, your own personal being able to do things in your life. It's going to show up in a toxic way until you forgive them. Trust and believe, because I tried to ignore it. It's like, I don't want to forgive them. I was like, whatever. I was like, no. I was like, no. I was like, I'm not forgiving. I was like, they meant to do that to me. But as you mature, as you heal, as you become more mature, as you think about yourself in terms of they were doing the best that they possibly could, even if it's not how you would have processed things and how you would have acted, but it is what it is, right? And I had to say it is what it is, and I forgive them, and I love them, and I appreciate. And now I'm at a level of saying I appreciate who my mother and father was, and what they could do, and that's it. And don't read into they should have did more, and they should, because that will just make you miserable. I had to I had to what you call it, reel back, take a step backwards and say, okay, okay, you judging them, like, do you want to be judged? And I was like, no, I don't. So I gotta release that part. Sierra says, I understand that what you're describing sounds like you're holding a little bit more than you would normally. Yeah. And it was, and I was. And if I'm going to be honest about it, I'm going to be honest about the whole thing. Oh, angry. I was angry. Like, how dare you? And why did you treat me this way? And we a lot of times think that our parents did things to intentionally. They intentionally wanted to hurt me. They intentionally didn't support me, or they abandoned me. They disrespected me. They didn't love me. They didn't give me what I need. Remember, everybody is not you. Not everybody is capable of giving us what we want. And that is the reason why forgiveness is so pure. Forgiveness is so wonderful. And when I truly forgave my mother, especially, for what I felt wasn't right, and that I gave her the permission to be not only just my mother, but you forget that my mother was also a wife, and she was also a sister, and she was also a friend, and she was also a child of God. And I had to remind myself of that, that it wasn't just that they were for me and only there to help me and serve me. That they had other roles that I may not have understood. And that's when you apply some compassion, you know, apply some compassion and be supportive of that. Yes, yes. So the next thing, we got one more after this one. Um, what really has helped me in, that nothing can prepare you for it, is focusing on the memories, and not the negative ones, not the bad ones, but the positive. And since I've been vibrating in that space, to focus my mind on positive, good memories, thinking about the times where, we laughed together, we had fun. Um, and I'm not going to cap with you guys. It's not like I have a lot of those, but the memories that I do have. Hey, Lisa, how are you doing? Let's see. Uh, um, the memories that I do have about my mom and my dad, I had to focus on the positive memories. I had to focus on the things that they did give me. And what did my mom actually give me? My mom gave me the gift of the ability to know how to save money. And that's a gift in itself. My mom gave me that gift. She was always, like I told you guys, that I come from a big family. I have 9 other siblings. I'm the 10th child. And my mother was a saver. And she never made it seem like we didn't have much. She made the money stretch. She made sure we all had things. And that's really remarkable. It's really amazing. So that's one thing I had to learn to focus my mind on the positive memories, the good things. And when you think about the positive things, the good things, then of course the way that you are dealing and coping with it is going to be better. Of course, you're going to be more positive. Of course, there's going to be peace. Of course, there's going to be joy there. And it takes time. That doesn't happen overnight. You're not just gonna one day wake up and be like, yeah, oh, we had, me and my mom or my dad, we had good times together. It's gonna take time and processing and healing to finally get to the space to say, I remember when this happened. And that was a good time. Or that was a good memory. And I remember when they supported this and supported that. When I started thinking in terms of that, my grief shifted to not crying but smiling and acknowledging, yeah, I remember when that happened. That was wonderful. So that's where I am in this grand scheme of my grief, that I finally come to the space where I can focus on positive memories. And I got one more point, guys. And and that is that, when nothing can prepare you for that grief, is this is the thing that will change everything in your life. It changed the trajectory of my life, and that was to honor them with my life. So not staying in that, not staying in the zone of saying they did this to me and they hurt me and they're not here. Not vibrating in that space that, yes, they're not here, and yes, you miss them, you love them, so many other things. But now you have to turn it back around and say, they came for me to live. They came for me to thrive. They came for me to be my best self. And now I'm going to honor them by the life that I live, the person that I am. And, like I said, it's shifting out the negative and focusing on the positive. So I have been focusing on being a better woman. Okay, what they didn't give me, because they didn't give me that, now I have the opportunity to learn how to be a better communicator, how to be a better friend, a mature woman, a healed woman, a positive woman, a supportive woman. And I got that from me. That came from inside of me. And I'm proud of that, because I feel like that's how I honor them. That I leveled up, mom and dad. I leveled up, you know. You did the best that you could, and now I'm doing the best that I can do. And I think that part is important. Sarah says, Marlene, have you thought about mom was dealing with much more than you know? She probably was holding it together because of the fact that she was internally screaming as well. Yes. I did not think about that serious, but like I said, that took me a really long time. Even after my mom passed, like I said, my mom passed in 2017. It wasn't until like around a little bit after the 19 that I was able to really process it. Like around 2023, when I first started focusing on, no, she wasn't just my mom. She was a wife, and she was a daughter, and she was a sister, and she was a friend, and she was a career woman. I was like, it wasn't just about me. That was a humbling moment. So, but it took time for me to process it. And I'm grateful that in my lifetime that I was able to say, I stopped being selfish, and I'm proud of that. Um, I thought about what she gave, and what she couldn't give, and now what I give as a woman, as a healed woman, as a strong woman, as a motivator, as a courageous woman, as a woman of God. Yeah. Sarah says that's why you push yourself so hard to be better than you were told you were capable. Yeah, that's why my drive to win and to succeed is so strong. I understand that not everybody has that, but because I grew up so many years of my life feeling like nobody, um, having zero self esteem, never feeling loved and supported, I make sure I make sure that I am somebody. I make sure I show up for myself. I make sure that the people in my life know that I love them and I care about them and I acknowledge them and I see what they do for me and that I am grateful. One thing I learned from my parents' example is to learn boundaries because while I had wonderful parents, they didn't know anything about boundaries. So I learned that from within myself because I didn't want to be like that when I got to be older, letting people run over me, not knowing how to say no, and also not knowing when it's time for me. It's time for me to shine and to do things for myself, to love on myself, and to be my own friend, and to respect myself, and to hold my head up high. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that I am a queen and that I'm powerful and courageous. And the same thing to all of you. Whatever it is that your mother or your father did or didn't do, now it's your season. Now it's your time in your life to heal, to improve, to learn things, to grow, to forgive, and to be better. So, what deposits are you leaving now after they're gone? Are you depositing? Are you elevating? Are you growing? Are you in a space of more peace? I can say that if my mother and my father never left, I never would have elevated. I never would have grown. I never would have healed. But it's a thing about grief how it allows you to take ownership of what they did, but also it causes you to look at your own self in the mirror and say, yeah, you got some work to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got some growing to do. And I'm grateful to be that woman today. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be, but I love her. And I want you guys to say the same thing about yourself. I'm not perfect, but I love me. Okay? But I love me. That is the gift that grief has given me. I'm not perfect, but I love me. Yeah, amen. And I'm grateful every single day. I made it. I made it. I healed that little girl inside of me. I grew up, I matured, and now I help and bless other people. What a gift. What a testimony. What pain can do to you. See, I took my pain and I allowed it to sharpen my life and improve it. And you guys can do the same. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you and say, I don't have my days, I don't cry, I'm not sad, I'm not angry. But then I shift, I get myself refocused, and I look at myself in the mirror and say, you're worth it. You are capable. Yeah, you are enough. You can do great things. So go ahead and win. Go ahead and smile. Go ahead and succeed. And that's the reason why you guys will see Marlene is an overachiever. Yep, I am an overachiever. I am a perfectionist. I am a type A personality. Yes, most definitely. But I believe for me it's a good thing. It keeps me focused It keeps me something to look forward to and not staying in that space of depression and sadness and anger and bitterness and wanting to fight. I want to be happy. I want to have peace. I want to be around people who love me back, not just people who say they love me, but people who deserve my love. And I love that for me. And I love that for you guys too. You can be better. You can love yourself. You can be your own best friend. You can heal. I know it's a challenge. I know we miss them. Because I do. Every day I wake up. Every day I wake up, I miss them. But I rise. And the same thing for you. But you rise. So keep your head up, guys. Don't give up. And don't ever forget that you're worthy, you're enough, you're strong, courageous, beautiful, handsome, intelligent, capable, okay? Wise. You're all of those things. So believe in yourself and take the lesson from everything in life. Are you going to stay down? Are you going to allow your circumstance to keep you down, or are you going to use it as a step stool and level up? You can do it. Okay? I will see you guys back. What is today? Friday. I will see you guys back on Monday. I think Monday night. Okay? Yes, serious. Good for you. Thank you so much, everybody. And keep your head up. Okay? Be positive. Do the best that you can. I'm Marlene Motivates, your life coach, motivational speaker. Okay? Believe in yourself and tell yourself, even when you don't want to get out of bed, even when the odds are against you, even when your heart is broken, even when you are facing challenges, remind yourself, I'm enough. I am loved. I am capable. And there's nothing that I can't do. Blessings to you all. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday night. And I'll see you guys back on Monday. Monday for the members, I think. But I'll put on the community tab either way. In about, let's see, in about 2 hours, I'm going to be live on Lisa J. Stock's channel at, I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so like 2 hours. And we're going to talk about some money. I think she said money matters topics. So come on over if you have the time. I would love to see you guys. Come on, support Lisa. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your evening. I'm Marlene Motivates, your life coach. And you know what we say over here? Just know it. Just breathe it. And be it. And live your best life. Peace, guys.